Coming up on The Cut.
Tension at the Winter Olympic Games continue to rise.
Arizonans speak out over new ICE detention center.
And Bad Bunny dominated the Super Bowl halftime show this past weekend.
All this and more coming up on The Cut.
The Cut starts now.
Hello and welcome to the Cut Network. I'm Sydney.
And I'm Ryan.
Iran just sentenced Nobel Peace Prize laureate and activist Narja Mohammadi to over 7 more years in prison after she began a hunger strike despite her serious medical concerns. Mohammadi was imprisoned for 13 years and 9 months on charges of collusion against state security and propaganda against Iran's government, until she received medical furlough in November 2024 after suffering multiple heart attacks and ongoing emergency surgery in jail. Though she was only supposed to have 3 weeks, she was able to stay out of prison for a year, likely due to activists and Western powers' efforts to keep her free. She spent her time out of prison protesting and making appearances in international media. The threat of being rearrested did not stop her from speaking out against Iran's human rights violations. However, she was rearrested in December 2025. Her lawyer, Mostafa Neely, said, quote, "She's been sentenced to 6 years in prison for, quote, gathering and collusion, and 1.5 years for propaganda." She was also sentenced to a 2-year travel ban. Agnes Callamard, the Secretary General of Amnesty International, wrote on X that Mohammadi's sentence was a, quote, reflection of the skyrocketing lethal repression against dissent and protest waged by the authorities. Her lawyer expects she will be released temporarily for medical treatment, though it is unclear as Iran cracks down on all government dissent. On Sunday, the Iranian judiciary chief suggested many activists will face harsh prison sentences. He said, quote, "Look at some individuals who were once with the revolution and accompanied the revolution. Today, what they are saying, what they are writing, what statements they issue, they are unfortunate, they are forlorn, and they will face damage."
This last Wednesday, the Washington Post laid off a third of its staff as part of a downsize for the publication due to financial loss. This change results in the elimination of the sports department, several foreign bureaus, and the book coverage section. The Post's executive editor addressed the upcoming changes in a company-wide online meeting. He called the decision difficult but necessary for the company as the world of media changes. After sports reporters were told that they would not be sent to Italy for the Winter Olympics, rumors of layoffs circled the company. When the layoffs finally came, they were much larger than expected. A Columbia University journalism professor and columnist for the Post and the New York Times, Margaret Sullivan, expressed her worries for the world of press. It's, quote, "It's just devastating. News for anyone who cares about journalism in America and, in fact, the world. The Washington Post has been so important in so many ways, in news coverage, sports, and culture coverage," end quote. The Post's owner, Jeff Bezos, has been silent amid layoffs as journalists plead for his support. The Post's struggles occurred while their competition, the New York Times, has doubled its staff in the past decade.
We have an update on a big story we brought to you last week. Cut reporter Gabrielle Arias explains the updates in the Nancy Guthrie case. Gabrielle?
Thank you, Sydney. Today I bring an update on the Nancy Guthrie case. Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie, was originally reported missing February 1st from her home in Tucson, Arizona. The case has gained much traction after Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos announced he suspected a crime in her disappearance. On February 3rd, several media outlets, including TMZ and CNN affiliates, received ransom letters demanding millions of dollars in Bitcoin in exchange for Guthrie's return, CNN said. The next day, the Guthrie family released a video pleading for their mother's return, saying, quote, "We need to know without a doubt that she's alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us," end quote. The FBI then announced a $50,000 reward for information regarding the case. CNN said February 6th another ransom note was received by a CNN affiliate. The family released another video saying, quote, "We will pay," end quote. February 10th, the FBI released doorbell footage of, quote, "an unarmed individual appearing to have tampered with the camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door the morning of her disappearance," end quote, FBI Director Kash Patel said. Later that day, a person was detained for questioning regarding the case, but they were later released. Another note was sent to TMZ, which appeared to be asking for a single Bitcoin in exchange for information about the kidnapper. Harvey Levin, TMZ founder, said, quote, "They are not saying they are the kidnappers. They are saying they know who the kidnapper is and will give up that information for 1 Bitcoin, end quote. FBI Director Kash Patel says the FBI is still looking for a person of interest in the case. You can submit any tips in the case by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI. For the Cut Network, I'm Gabrielle Arias.
Thank you, Gabrielle. We're hoping for her safe return. The Winter Olympics just kicked off, and they've already caused quite a stir in Milan. After a peaceful march against the environmental impact of the Games and the large presence of U.S. agents in Italy on Saturday, a smaller group of protesters threw firecrackers and attempted to access a highway near the Olympics venue. In response, Italian police fired tear gas and a water cannon. They were able to hold off demonstrators who seemed to be trying to get to the hockey venue. Earlier, a group of mass protesters set off firecrackers and smoke bombs on a bridge overlooking a construction site about a half-mile from the Olympic Village, which houses around 1,500 athletes. Police secured the road to the village, but the protest veered away towards the hockey rink. The demonstration coincided with Vice President J.D. Vance's visit to Milan as head of the American delegation that attended the opening ceremony on Friday. The protest was also against the deployment of ICE agents as security detail for the U.S. delegation. At the peaceful march on Saturday, which police said numbered 10,000 people, protesters carried cardboard cutouts to represent the trees used to build the new bobsled run in Cortina. Others made signs that called out, quote, fascist police and polluting sponsors, in reference to the fossil fuel companies that sponsor the Games. Dancers performed to beaded drums and a truck blasted music, including an explicit anti-ICE anthem that led the walk. Quote, they bypassed the laws that are usually needed for major infrastructure projects, citing the urgency for the Games, said protester Guido Maffioli, who expressed concern that the private entity organizing the Games would eventually pass on debt to Italian taxpayers. Italians are fearing for their physical, economic, and environmental security, but they are making their voices heard.
The loudest tournament in the PGA has officially concluded. Cut reporter Deanna Nichiporig has who took home the victory. Deanna?
Thank you, Ryan. Chris Gotterup has won the WM Phoenix Open in dramatic fashion, making a clutch playoff birdie to defeat Hideki Matsuyama at TPC Scottsdale. Gotterup charged up the leaderboard Sunday, firing a final round 7 under 64, including 5 birdies in his final 6 holes, to force a playoff with Matsuyama at 16 under par. On the first playoff hole, Gotterup delivered, sinking a long birdie putt after Matsuyama pulled his tee shot into the water. Reflecting on the win, Gotterup said, quote, "You never know what to expect. Then, all of a sudden, you're out there on 18th and everyone is going nuts and you're like, all right, that's it." Quote, Matsuyama, a 2-time winner here, held a 1-shot lead heading into Sunday but couldn't close it out, hitting trouble on the final holes and into the playoff. World number 1 Scottie Scheffler also made a late push, finishing just 1 shot back in a tie for thirds. Gotterup sealed the win with Matsuyama's late mistake helping open the door. For the Cut Network, I am Deanna Nichiporig.
Thank you, Deanna. What an exciting weekend for golf fans. 3 Democrat members of Arizona's congressional delegation are pushing Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem for an information after ICE purchased a warehouse in the West Valley last month. The warehouse in Surprise, Arizona is more than 400,000 square feet and was purchased for $70 million in cash. In a letter to Noem, House representatives asked for details regarding how they would work with the affected city and the building's overall footprint. ICE has not confirmed the intended use for the warehouse yet, and media access is still limited in the area. Concerns surrounding the warehouse have been echoed from representatives in both parties as news develops.
Olympic veteran Lindsey Vonn had a possible career-ending crash. Cut reporter Abby Cervenek has what happened. Abby?
Thank you, Sydney. Lindsey Vonn, an American alpine ski racer, crashed at the 2026 Winter Olympics in Milan, resulting in a major injury and the end of her Olympics. After being diagnosed with a torn ACL in late January, Lindsey Vonn announced she'd still compete in the 2026 Olympics. However, on Sunday, 13 seconds into a race, Vonn crashed on the course and was immediately airlifted off the course and taken to the nearest hospital. The crash on Sunday had nothing to do with her previous ACL tear. It was announced Monday that Vaughn had suffered a complex tibia fracture, which will require surgery. After Monday's update on Vaughn's condition, she's expected to undergo multiple surgeries but have a safe recovery. Yet, it might be the end of Lindsey Vaughn's historic Olympic career. For the Cut Network, I'm Abby Cervenak.
Thank you, Abby. We will keep you updated on her condition and any other happenings at these Olympic Games. Now we have Cut anchor Angel Garcia on entertainment with this year's iconic halftime performance. Angel?
Hello and welcome to the entertainment news segment on The Cut. I hope you got a spoon for the amount of bowls that happened throughout this past weekend. When the world needed him most, he delivered. Six-time Grammy winner Bad Bunny performed his heart out at the 60th annual Super Bowl halftime show. 31-year-old Benito opened with one of his most iconic hits, Titi Me Pregunto. Following was other bangers from his discography, including Yo Pereo Sola, Zafaera, Party, Io, and Nueva York. With guest appearances of Ricky Martin and Lady Gaga, Bad Bunny made sure his audience was ready to bailar. However, not everyone was fond of Bad Bunny's performance. During Benito's show, Turning Point USA provided an alternative. Featuring artists like Kid Rock and Brantley Gilbert, the performance was streamed on YouTube with 5 million viewers tuning in. Unlike Turning Point, over 135 million viewers around the world tuned into Bad Bunny's performance, placing it as the most watched halftime show of all time. Benito, singing entirely in Spanish, made history by pushing back the idea that English is required to belong or succeed in U.S. pop culture. Bad Bunny ended the show stating, quote, "Together, we are America," end quote, as he named every country across North, Central, and South America. Benito stood beside his word and culture as each billboard had the same sentence, stating, quote, "The only thing more powerful than hate is love," end quote. Speaking of love, the real athletes took the field in the 22nd annual Puppy Bowl. With over 150 dogs welcomed, the event saw once again Team Fluff take on Team Rough. Although both sides put up a good fight, this year's trophy was taken home by none other than Team Fluff. But hey, when it comes down to the Puppy Bowl, there are no losers. That's all the entertainment I have for you this week. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Angel Garcia, and this is The Cut Entertainment.
Thank you, Angel. Now on to Cut sports anchor Cindy Craven with all things Super Bowl and Winter Olympics. Cindy?
Thank you, Sydney, and welcome back to another week of Sports on the Cut. From national championships to world championships, there's a lot we need to cover, so let's not waste any more time. The 60th annual Super Bowl took place this last Sunday in San Francisco, and the Seahawks were able to flip the scripts from the last time these two teams faced off in 2015. This marks the second Super Bowl win for this franchise and sends the Patriots back to New England just shy of another ring. As far as gameplay, both teams struggled to get points on the board. The first, second, and third quarters were all filled with field goals, but no touchdowns were scored until the fourth quarter. I don't know, maybe that halftime show brought some much-needed enthusiasm to the playing field. Overall, it was a good day for Seahawks fans and those who bet that the Gatorade at the end of the game would be yellow. The 2026 Winter Olympics began on February 6th in Italy and will continue until the 22nd. Athletes compete in events like figure skating, skiing, snowboarding, and so much more, with a chance to bring home gold for their country. This year, the balance of male to female athletes has been a big topic of conversation. These Olympic Games are known to be the most gender-balanced games in the Winter Olympics history. Up by almost 4% from the 2022 Games in Beijing, this year's Games showcased a split of 47% females. With many medals already won, and still many more to give out, this year's Games will definitely be one that you don't want to miss. With many medals already won, and still many more to give out, this year's Games will definitely be one you don't want to miss. Thank you for joining me for another sports breakdown. For the Cut Network, I'm Cindy Craven.
Thanks, Cindy. The athletes are not the only ones fans are looking for. At the Winter Olympics, plushies of mascots Milo and Tina seemed to be harder to get than a medal. The plushies flew off the shelves, selling out at many official Olympic stores within the first week of the Games. Tina, short for Cortina, is the lighter colored stoat and represents the Olympics Winter Games. Her younger brother Milo, short for Milano, is the face of the Paralympic Winter Games. Milo was born without a paw but learned to use his tail and turned his difference into a strength. Annie Laurie Atkins loved that Milo is the mascot for Paralympians. Quote, "The Paralympics are really special to me," she said Tuesday. Quote, "I have a lot of friends that are disabled, and so having a character that also represents that is just incredible." The animals are all over the Olympic Games, adorning merchandise of all kinds, but the plushies are by far the most popular. They've been cleaned out at all major stores, including the Duomo Cathedral and Cortina, and online. However, one loophole is to just be an Olympic medalist. Winning athletes are given the plush toys when they receive their gold, silver, and bronze medals atop the podium. Friends Michelle Chen and Brenda Zhang were among the dozens of fans on Tuesday who took photos with the live mascots in the fan zone in central Milan. Quote, "They're just so lovable and they're always super excited at the games. They're cheering on the crowd." Chen said after they snapped their shots, quote, "We are just so excited to meet them." It seems these little animals have really elevated the fan experience for many people attending the 2026 Winter Olympics. Okay, Ryan, at the next Olympics, what do you think the mascot should be?
Well, where's it going to be? LA, right?
I think so, yeah.
Well, spirit animal LA, I would say is probably a dolphin. It'd be hard to be a dolphin mascot. No arms or legs, but I think I could do the job.
I was
Roll
just
around
gonna say,
on the ground.
I think you can do it.
I'm a skilled mascot. I think I could do it. Perform in any costume.
Exactly.
Dolphin, otter. I don't need anything.
And when that happens, we'll be the first to let you know. Thank you so much for watching The Cut Network. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network. I'm Sydney.
I'm Ryan.
Have a nice night.